Hey, everybody, it's Eddie from Tokyo. This is your cryptocurrency update from Japan, and let's see if I can show you something special. Here is an example of how fintech solutions are answering the call to maintain commitments during these challenging times. So Moneygram's activity has jumped big time as this impact continues. And you can see here that the facilitator of payments and money transfers last week reported nearly 60% year-over-year transaction growth for MoneyGram's online year-to-date through February. This is an acceleration from the fourth quarter of 2019, where the company reported 39% transaction growth. More importantly, MoneyGram indicated that these trends are continuing in March, with growth being driven by both US-outbound and international corridors. Now, here's where it gets interesting. The US-outbound transactions for MoneyGram, branded online, achieved triple-digit transaction growth of 101% year-to-date through February, and 37% revenue growth over the same period. So over the past few years, MoneyGram has invested in their digital money transfer capabilities, and during this time of global uncertainty, the ability for consumers around the world to send and receive money is of critical importance. So that's very interesting news. All right, Kraken. Well, I think you are familiar with them. They are one digital asset exchange that's been around a long time, since 2011, and they published on the 27th their 2020 sentiment survey. The survey takers, it's a small sampling, just about 400 of their clients. 41% are investors, 40% are traders, 15% come from the institutional world, and then kind of a breakdown of miscellaneous, including 1% being minors. Those that took the survey set the target price of BTC this year at 22,000, and the most favored or preferred altcoins were, and in this order, Ethereum, Monero, XRP, Litecoin, and Tezos. And if I take you to the actual breakdown of their 12-page report, there's something that's very interesting, and they asked the people why they bought the coin that they did. So for XRP, people are making that purchase because it has a real use case. It has volatility, speed, cost, the transaction cost and speed, the mainstream potential, the low risk, the trading volume and liquidity, the institutional adoption and interest, stability, secure, and high beta to BTC. And everybody knows I love Tezos too. And the reason why Tezos is being chosen is because of the ease of staking, the STO play. Yeah, that's a big one for me. It's a hedge against Ethereum. That's interesting. Upgradable, the innovation, the upside potential, the POS delegation, it's well-funded, and it has sound governance. So if you are curious for why people are choosing those coins that they have chosen, this is a great survey. I'll put it in the description below. And just equally fun, if you don't know, this is BitInfo charts. And I took those 5 coins that are most preferred on Kraken, and I'm taking a look at how they compare with tweets on Twitter. And it's interesting because really from July to the end of January, XRP is just by far having more activity than the other 4. It is just recently dropping off a little bit as of late in March. But you can see here is from February 18th, 2020. The Ethereum tweets were 5.4 thousand, Litecoin only 952, XRP 6.3 thousand, Tezos 1.2 2,000 and Monero just 240,000. So this really, I think this is a very good tool to find out what people are talking about. And that very often correlates, I think, to announcements and price. Okay, the thing I want to talk about here is why or what happened with the loss of the digital dollar in the bill that was worked on for the stimulus relief. And there were a couple of drafts. I don't know if you know, but there were a couple of bills being worked on, and they started working on them around March 17th. And they had lots of advisors. And I was able to find a couple of the early drafts. This first one here is actually one that was called Financial Protections and Assistance for American Consumers, States, Businesses, and Vulnerable Populations. Yeah, this is the one that had Maxine Waters on it. So it was part of, I'm sure, a team that she put together to try to work it out. It was only, 269 pages. And when you put in digital dollar, it appears in her document 23 times. And then the next one I found is another one. I think this is the one that was being worked on with Pelosi. I'm not positive on that, but actually, it's a larger group of Democrats, I believe. Okay, so this one was called "Take Responsibility for Workers and Family Act," and it was 1,119 pages, and the word digital dollar appeared 24 times in this one. All right, so what happened? Well, I wanted to know maybe if I could research who was responsible for taking it out. So what I did was, let me just tell you that there is you can see the times that they were working on this too. This one was being worked on March 22nd at 9:10 p.m. And the one that has Maxine Waters, they were working on it the same night of the 22nd of March at 11:38 p.m. So if you take these XML messages, these right here, it creates a digital footprint, and you can actually check that, which I did. Let me just show you what that looks like. So there was only about five links that appeared for when I checked on that XML. You can see Senator Ben Sass, I think is maybe how he says his name, shows up, and also this Nelson Mullins. And of course, I wanted to check a little further as to what those people were doing. So I can tell you, let me see, I'm a little lost here. This is Senator Sass, and yeah, so I think he was definitely one that had his hand in it. But that Nelson Mullins, now this is interesting. This is actually part of Nelson Mullins, Riley, and Scarborough, and they're referred to often as just Nelson Mullins. It's a U.S. law firm and lobby group in South Carolina. It's an old firm. They were founded back, in the 1800s, actually, by a Patrick Nelson II. And they started out relatively small, but now they are ranked the 69th largest law firm in the nation based on gross revenue. They have 800 attorneys and government relationships with representatives. Their specialty is banking and finance, but they also, you can see here, they also are very into blockchain. And I can tell you the go-to guy for their blockchain is probably this guy right here, Dowse Bradwell Brad Rustin IV. And yeah, if you pay attention to what he has been doing and how he writes his bio out. He is really one that's deep into the finance entities and money service businesses. And in the wake of the financial crisis back in 2008, he began working with financial institutions, money transmitters, non-traditional lenders, check cashers, and mortgage brokers, and would help them through a lot of things, including regulatory compliance. And then as he continued, well, he gets into more compliance and traditional and non-traditional lending. And the firm's technology group, Mr. Rustin, regularly works with fintech companies on state and federal regulatory compliance. So I do think this is the go-to guy for that space. He's at they have offices now all over the world, but he is in South Carolina, which is where the law firm was founded. Okay, so when we just then go back to the bill, and here we are just a day later, March 23rd, with the timestamp of 7:38 p.m., and we check on digital dollar, and it's gone. It's gone. It has become 1,404 pages, but digital dollar was taken out. So within that same day, Senator Sherrod Brown, a ranking member of the U.S. Senate Committee, he introduced a separate legislation, and that would give Americans this ability to set up a free bank account that would be used to receive and grab that stimulus payment that is due to the relief. So you can see that everyone is going to set up a digital dollar wallet called a Fed account, and it's a free bank account that will be used to receive money, make payments, and take out cash. And it'll also give the Fed account the availability at banks and post offices. And the Fed account would have no account fees or minimum balance requirements, and account holders would receive debit cards, online access, automatic bill pay, mobile banking, and ATM access at post offices. So, well, the digital wallet and the digital dollar for American adults and children is still alive in this bill. I will put a link to it. It's here in the description below if you're kind of interested in taking a peek at it. And of course, then on Friday, March 27th, the bill was signed into law, and that is now called the word I can't say, Aid, Relief, and Economic Security Act, or short, CARES Act. And I didn't know this, but anytime they do a bill signing, you actually get the remarks recorded. And here you have the remarks from that CARES Act signing. It's called the HR 748. And they assembled in the Oval Office at 4:10 p.m. And then it's the recorded conversations which took place in the Oval Office up until 4:33 p.m. I had fun reading this. Very interesting. So here's the bill. It finally finished at 854 pages. And again, digital dollar, nowhere to be found. Okay, everybody, we are jumping to a little fluff. I'm going to introduce to you some, wow, pretty crazy things, little moss balls called kokedama. And who you see here is a French ceramic artist. His name is Arnaud Roy. Yeah, and he traveled to Japan. I think he travels here a lot. But when he went to Kyoto, he explains in this article, which is a very recent article, it's a February 2020 article, that he really fell in love with this kokedama. Koke is moss and dama means ball. And he explains that it's really situated between the crossroads of bonsai and ikebana. Ikebana is flower arranging, the traditional Japanese flower arranging. But he loves kokedama because it's inexpensive. It requires less care, especially than bonsai. And he can also feel that it maintains this essential link to nature with the Japanese aesthetics of things that are natural, tranquil, and simple. So I was really thrilled to see that he had discovered it because, yeah, the Japanese are just crazy for them. And I did find his website with his ceramic ware, which is just really fabulous. But keeping to the kokedama, this is what it might look like. And in December 2019, there is somebody who's a PhD from the University of Hyogo, Masahiro Toyota, and he did a study and studied that plants have the ability to reduce stress. And I'm thinking about everybody in the world right now in how they can reduce stress. And indoor plants, according to his research, can boost your mental health. So this finding that's now published in the American Society for Horticultural Science in the January 2020 edition, you can find that his findings are well studied. And I just wanted to share then 3 beautiful pictures of kokedama because I think it's a total do-it-yourself project. It's not hard to do. Here are some examples with succulents. Here's an example done with a very typical flower you might buy at a florist. And here is something a little bit fancier with an orchid. That is spectacular. All right, everybody, do take care. Sayonara for now. Bye-bye.